Okay, welcome to Australian Veteran News, Jim, and welcome to our viewers. This morning we'll be talking about Guitars for Vets Australia, and we'll hear all about it with Jim Mavromatis, who will explain to us how it started and why this is so important. So welcome, Jim. Welcome to our website.
Thank you very much. Actually, it's a great pleasure for me to be interviewed by you. Um, Guitars for Vets Australia started about 3 years ago. A friend of mine, Dave Cox, who actually was an apprentice at the Army Apprentices School, after I came out of hospital from Vietnam, I'd been posted to the apprentice school as an instructor, a drill instructor. Now, there's a big difference from coming from Vietnam and to an army apprentices school where everything
Absolutely.
is like luxury. And when I was doing guard duty, or I was a duty sergeant, I would walk through the huts, and occasionally I'd see somebody with a guitar, and I'd say, "Do you mind if I play?" And so I'd play a couple of Creedence Clearwater songs, and I must have impressed a young guy called David Cox. And 50 years later, David he set up his own business, and he went to America because he's in the electronics field, and he
Mm-hmm.
works with this electronics group in America. While he was over there, he came across, he was in a bar or in a restaurant, and he met a guy who was a member of Guitars for Vets USA.
Yes.
Pardon me. And so this guy took Dave back to their RSLs. I don't know what they call them, and they talked about Guitars for Vets. And Dave thought this would be great to bring it back to Australia. And then when he came back to Australia and he started on his own,
Mm-hmm.
and he then made contact with the Veterans Affairs newsletter, and they interviewed him, and then they had a phone number there, so I phoned him, and I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "Remember you? You were the one that started my dream of playing the guitar."
Okay.
Anyway, so he said, "This is what I do, and would you help me?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So there's David Cox, myself, and another guy called Paul Malone up in Queensland. So the three of us now do or run the Guitars for Vets program. So what
Yes.
we do is we search for veterans that have suffered from trauma, and we then talk to them about music and
Mm.
playing the guitar.
And
Would
that's
they
a
be
question,
interested?
Jim. But why music? Why is music so important? How does this help with
Um,
this PTSD that you talk about?
well, from my own perspective, I suffered from chronic post-traumatic stress disorder in the year 2000.
Mm.
But prior to that, I had been playing the guitar on and off. But when I had my breakdown, and after a period of medication and whatever, I
Hmm.
took up playing the guitar again and started writing my own songs. And when I was seeing my psychiatrist, he'd say, "Whatever you've got in your head, just write it down."
Right.
And then I was finding that I was writing like poetry, and
Mm.
then I realised I could put some chords to it and turn them into songs. Now, my first CD, which was Big Jim Sings Country, shot me into obscurity. So I I didn't pursue a musical career. But what I did is I went around and played at different places like
Mm.
wine bars or restaurants, RSLs, and while I was doing that, I'd introduce myself as a Vietnam veteran, and I would have other veterans would come to me and say, "Ah, I'm a veteran as well, and I like
Mm.
what you're doing. I like your songs." And then when Dave contacted me, I thought, well, we're on the same network. I also want to find veterans that suffer with trauma,
Mm.
and so we pursued the. We've been doing it now
Mm.
together for the last couple of years, and so
Yes.
far we've put nearly 400 veterans through the program.
And
Now we,
Jim, you
yeah,
sorry, you talk about you look for veterans. How do you
yeah.
do that? And how do you get these veterans who may have suffered from PTSD, serving our country, protecting our country? How do you get them to speak up and make contact with you?
Um, the way we've been doing it is just with posters. We have posters we put
Mm.
around the place in. I've been putting them in chemists and doctors' surgeries. Those that actually it's quite funny because sometimes they don't like the idea of putting posters up. And when I talk to them and say that what we're doing is we're looking for veterans that have suffered with trauma, and I'm sure as a doctor you would have been dealing with a lot, and chemists as well. They
That's a good
supply the
idea.
medication
Mm.
that the doctor writes a script for. So I thought the chemists and
So it's a very
the
simple
doctors,
way of that.
surgeries,
Yes.
and even some of the psychiatrists. Pardon?
It's a very simple way
What
of
was
advertising when
I
it's
missed?
something that's crucial, isn't it, for people to reach out? So I wanted
Oh,
to ask you
absolutely.
about the
Yeah.
teachers. So who are the teachers? Where do you get the teachers from? And how do you run the program?
Uh, okay. When I first joined up with Dave, when we found a veteran, we would do one-to-one coaching, and so we'd go to a music school or a music shop and find out if they had guitar teachers.
Mm.
We would provide them with when it was one-to-one, we were paying about $30 a half an hour for coaching, and we would give them. Pardon me, I need some water. I don't have a secretary.
I've got some.
Um, yeah, we would organise a coach,
Mm.
one-to-one coach, which cost us about $30 for half an hour. We would give the veterans 10 free lessons, after we've provided them with a guitar as well. And we have several shops that donate, or we buy the guitars from the shops at about 50% off. And some of the shops actually deliver the guitar to the veteran's house.
What a wonderful thing to
But they
do.
do
Very
the 10
generous.
half-hour lessons, and then there's, sorry,
We seem to
very
have a
generous.
delay. It's very
Oh yeah,
generous, isn't it, to have someone who's,
yeah,
waiting for a
yeah,
guitar
yeah,
that has been delivered all for free,
yeah,
including these lessons.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing
So
that you're
we,
doing.
when they or when I first started with Dave, I would be getting names. I do it all through email,
Mm,
and then organising one-to-one was pretty difficult because you
mm,
had to fit in with the time with the coach, fit in time with the veteran. And so what I thought of doing, I found a coach. Well, there was a lot of things happening in my life um, when I started changing things with guitars for vets. From my perspective, um, we were living in Ocean Grove in Victoria, and we were planning to move across to South Australia. We were planning to move on the 17th of January last year, and on the 16th, my wife had an aneurysm,
mm,
and that delayed
mm,
us coming over to Adelaide. But while I was in Victoria, I thought about how we could do groups online, so the vet didn't have to leave the comfort of their home. So when we came over to South Australia. I met up with a professional musician. His name is Crafty, a very unusual name, but
mhm,
that's his name, Crafty, and he plays all stringed instruments. And
mm.
I did actually see him play a piano accordion one day.
But Jim, I've got
Anyway, so
sorry to interrupt you. Because I wanted to ask you
that's it.
about, um, you talk about you have people approaching and learning the guitar. Are we
Yeah,
talking about men and
yeah,
women? And what age group are we also talking
yeah.
about?
We've had a couple of guys that are around about 80, and we've had the younger veterans. The younger veterans we talk about are the ones that are Iraq, Afghanistan,
Mm,
Timor, Zimbabwe,
mm,
veterans from those conflicts.
yes.
And yeah, so especially I, I've been amazed with some of the stories from the women who
Mm,
tragically have married the wrong person, and have suffered more trauma with wife beating, and that's because their partners have also suffering from trauma, gone on the wrong path
Yes.
with drugs and whatever. And so now we have males and females, and we
Okay.
have all the different services: Air Force, Army, Navy. Um,
So
but
in the
what
end,
we now do with
sorry, Jim.
yeah, what we now do with Crafty is that we do groups of 5, and
Okay.
so that keeps our costs down because we
Yes.
do fundraising by talking to groups like Rotary, Probus, Lions, Salvation
Mm,
Army. We go and play at different venues and raise money that way. I'll just give you an
okay.
example. I got a check in yesterday from Lions. I went and told them all about our program, and I got a check for $1,000. And then from another group, I got because I played there one night, they gave
Mm,
me $100, but they wanted to give me 400. But at this stage, I said I'll come back for the other 3. So yeah, so that's what we
okay.
do to raise funds.
Yes.
We Dave, myself, and Paul
So
have do little
are you also looking for
sessions.
donations from our community?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Mm,
absolutely. Yeah,
mm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and
We've had
I
money
might have to raise my
from
hand
yeah, yeah,
since we
yeah.
have a
You
delay.
can't shut
And
me up sometimes.
Jim, with 10 lessons, what's the end
Yeah,
product? So what can people do by the end of 10 lessons? And I can see guitars in the background. So can people choose what type of guitar, an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar? Um, can they be,
yeah,
can they say, I would
yeah,
prefer, can they do that as well?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do it all, but we do the basics first.
Mm,
The first thing is learning all about the guitar, and the second part is learning finger exercises, and then they learn 5 chords. When you've got 5 chords and you can play 5 chords, well, if you've got a capo which you put over the strings, you can play 5 chords multiplied by 15, so you can slide that capo down. So
okay.
at the end of their 5 1-hour lessons,
Okay.
they're actually playing, and they are playing songs. So they
Wonderful.
get to do 2 or 3 songs as well.
Oh,
And
great.
then if they what we've done also, if they want to continue, they can join Crafty's Music Club or Crafty's Guitar Club, which we sponsor as well.
Mm,
So that costs $49 a month, and we subsidise it for
mhm,
$20 a month.
mm.
So what we get from the veteran is a commitment. Because
Yes.
we've given them a free guitar and free lessons, if they continue on, their commitment is $29 a month. But from there, they can go anywhere. They can do folk,
Mm,
they can do country, they do rock, blues,
mm.
jazz, whatever. And those streams have all been developed by Crafty, and he
Okay.
guides them through that. And then
Mm,
we have with Crafty also the groups that come on board. We have master classes. We have Q&A
mm,
class groups, so that
okay.
when you send in all these questions, and
Mm.
then we all get together and online, and we
And now I'll
and
ask
we
you a
get
question.
answers.
So, because we're getting to the end of our
Yeah,
interview, Jim, and I really want to hear a little bit
yeah.
of your talent. How do we encourage people to get in contact with you, and what's the best way to get in contact with you with Guitars for Vets Australia? If we've got some people who are a little bit
Oh,
quiet, a little bit shy, what can they do?
you can you can go on our website, which
Mm-hmm,
is guitarsforvetsaustralia.com,
mm-hmm.
or you can go on to Facebook and go to Guitars for Vets Australia.
Okay.
It's our Facebook page. Um, or you can look out for a poster like this
Oh, we will.
that has
Mm,
all my details on it.
okay, great.
And
So, mhm.
I can give you my email address and phone number
Yeah, we'll
now
make
if you
sure to
like.
put that on the website on Australian Veteran News. So,
Yeah.
Jim, to finish off, would you be able to give us a demonstration of, for example, what 5 or 10 lessons can do for someone? What's one of the popular songs that people may be able to play by the end of those sessions? Could you do that?
They could do.
And I know you sing very well,
They could,
so maybe you could finish off with a song.
I could do one that I wrote
Let's do that one.
about me,
Let's hear
about
it.
where I went with alcohol and
What a good idea.
okay.
All right,
Um,
let's do
I'll,
that.
I'll cut it. I'll cut it short. I'll just play a few bars.
Let's enjoy this.
I can go on hiding behind these darkened walls for blackened corners where darkness shadows fall. I don't see the sunshine, I don't taste the rain. All I have are memories etched into my brain. So that song's all about coming back from a war zone,
Mm,
um, drinking a lot, not
look at that.
sleeping,
Yeah.
going on drugs,
So,
turning to God,
and look what you're
all those
doing
sort of
now.
things that
So this
happens
is,
with veterans.
yeah, I know, absolutely. So this is something, awareness that we need to bring, we need to raise this type of thing, invite people to join and do something where they can let it all out because there's help, lots of help
Yeah,
out there. So would you have any
yeah.
final words for
Just
us?
before we finish,
Mm,
just before we finish, the feedback that we get from the veterans once they've gone through the program,
mm,
things like I've cut my drinking right down, and so how have you done that? Well, I lean my guitar against the fridge, my beer fridge, and when I go to get a beer, I grab my guitar and I forget about the beer. And we had another guy say to us, it's helped me give up smoking because I put my cigarettes in my guitar box, put the guitar in there, lock the box, and then open up the box. If I want a cigarette, I need to take the guitar out. But when I pick the guitar up, I start playing it.
mm,
So and I'm giving up smoking. And
that's
then the
great.
feedback from the wives are, I've never seen him so happy with a smile on his face. His whole attitude is changing. He's not
Yeah,
angry. He takes his anger out and playing whatever he's playing.
look at
So
that.
we've come to accept that music and anger and all that. Well, the
Yeah.
one comment was, my guitar tames the wild beast in me.
There you go. And this one that
So
I read on your
that's
website,
what we're seeing.
where words fail, music speaks. I love that. So where did that come from?
Absolutely. That's
Is that your quote?
I don't know, but we use that
I
all the
love it.
time. Where
Yeah, I love
words
it.
fail, music
Okay, Jim,
speaks.
it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Certainly a wonderful thing that you're doing. I've really enjoyed the music, the generosity. So I do hope you get lots of other people making contact. We'll put this on the website, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll meet again very soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay, I'll see you another day. Bye bye.